All right. Yes, we are going live. As it even says, you are live with the you had an exclamation point. Hey, StreamYard, you don't have to yell at me. I'm right here. I can hear you. Anyway, here we go. Another installment of Get a Clue in 52, the speaker edition with Sue Mathieson, all the way down in Melbourne, Australia. Sue, this is the third three left today and then
I
two more.
know.
Can
I
you believe it?
know.
But we got a big number. 50. We turned 50 today. Can you believe? Like, first of all, we used to joke around this a lot. And we haven't told this joke in a while. And it's not really a joke. It's serious. Like anybody, who do you know that's done anything for 50 weeks in a row?
Not very, 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 very few people.
Yeah. So I'm coming up on like what, 2 extra weeks per year times 5. So this is like maybe 260 weeks in a row that I've been doing the Get a Clue in 52 thing. And I'm so happy, I am, because we're going to break 300 next year because we already have the Cluby Snacks version of the Get a Clue in 52 soft skills series. But we've got some work to do ourselves here in finishing up. So we know that, you are Sue Mathieson. Who am I? I'm Jeff Klubeck. And, we do all of these books, 5 categories. That's another thing, right? You can see the icons for our 5 categories right here. These are the icons. So I thought the cover design was done really well. Shout out to Sean O'Connor, who helps us with the cover design. And I'm working with Sean on the Cluby Snacks design now. And then I just had a conversation with Joey Santani. Shout out to Joey Santani. We're writing the prequel.
Yes.
We're the prequel to the Integrity Game.
Game.
And he was offered a spot at a conference in Vegas in July. So he called me today and he says, hey, can we get the cover going? Because maybe the book won't be ready, but can we get the cover going so that way we have a big poster board set up at the booth at the conference that he's going to be at in January. So I'm going to be on the phone with Sean talking about book covers. It's one of the fun parts of the process, the creative, the visual, the book cover. But I'm segueing from these 5 categories into a review of what got us here to where we are today. Speaking of the Integrity Game, it's a book I wrote in 2022. It introduces a 10-point model, and we used those 10 points and made them the first 10 tips in our book. For structural integrity, solid foundation, you can build anything on top of solid foundation. Don't build anything on top of quicksand, right? And then once we went through and played the Integrity Game, then we brought out our brand. We decorated it. We accessorized. We differentiated. We competitive advantaged. We attention gaining, sensational, and keepable promise our way into the marketplace, right? And there's all the things about bring out your brand, 10 tips there. Then we got into like speech writing, right? The middle section of the book is like the epicenter of the whole project. Really, it's this of all the tips, it's for speakers and non-speakers alike. But here, we're definitely getting into the situation where we're focusing on, in this section 3, the 8 steps to fearless public speaking. Proven, absolutely proven. And I'm getting comments from students in the past. Hey, Jeff, your class is helping me in other classes. I didn't have to speak, but I had to write a paper and I used the same, you know what I mean? Like you can actually apply it to the writing process. Yeah.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
And so we went through those 8 tips. We had 2 mindset tips to start off the section. And I always say this every week, but the 5th step to fearless public speaking ended up being tip number 27 for us. It showed up in section 3, tip number 27. And we just addressed it strategically because it's so important in the process that it deserved its own section. And so that's what we did in section 4 is we really went cluba diving deep on the power and the elements, the forms, the functions of the outlining process, getting out of our head onto paper in a line item subordinated way, elements of the intro, effective transition sentences, elements of a conclusion, the arguments, the statements supported with evidence, and on and on and on. So we really got into that. That's a lot of fun. And then coming out of section 5, it's the most fun to me in the book, right? These 12 tips, because they're all set to the theme of 99 bottles of beer on the wall. At least that's what's going on in my head. I was interviewed on a podcast earlier this week, and somebody said, like, what's your theme song? Or, like somebody was trying to ask a different question on the podcast, I forget exactly how it was phrased, but I just started laughing. They're like, what? I'm like, 99 bottles of beer on the wall. That's what it is. Anyway, super funny. It came up. Sue, I want you to know I'm thinking about you all the time, but definitely every Friday when we get together like this. So in practice building, I'm going to get us going really fast here. So we started, right? We started, hey, is it worth it, right? That's the first accountability. That's for the shareholder or the business owners. Is it worth it? Is it worth running this business, growing this, business, building this business, building this practice, all the fits, the starts, the emotions, the challenges, the self-doubt, all the stuff. We laid it out. It was fun and it was rhythmic the way we laid it out. But like, seriously, pay the fee of feasibility. Is this worth it, right? Then if it is, then run it. Make sure it runs. And make sure marketing, sales, and operations and finance report into a chief operating officer that can make sure, after getting these reports and looking at the numbers and making an understanding of what's running, what's not running, what can be run better, etc. Run it. Then we went into the operations department. I'm not screen sharing here because I'm going to go fast today, Sue.
Yeah.
We went into the operations department for the first of 3 accountabilities and operations. Like, hey, do you have a menu? But we're talking about product and service development. We're talking about research and development. You know, I'm a solopreneur. I don't have an R&D. I don't have research and development department. It's me. I'm the one that researches and develops new offerings, new things. Can I sell books? Can I sell online courses? Can I sell, you know, maybe a journal, maybe, I don't know, keychains, I don't know, you know. So like, there's some ideas that aren't going to be good. There's some things that are on our menu that shouldn't be there. There's some things that are on our menu that should only be there seasonally. Some things that are on our menu, right, that should always be on our menu, but we got to change how it's offered or the pricing or create specials around that thing around our menu. You got to re-engage, all kinds of strategy, right? About, right, when you're solopreneurial, your initials are in every other box on the chart. So how much time do I have to really give the best to you follow? There's all kinds of ideas that go unaccounted or undeveloped or you follow when you're solopreneurial. I'm trying to really have a good time laughing at how difficult it is to do it all, right? So all right, we left operations. We went over into marketing, and there's 2 accountabilities in marketing: bring information in and send information out. Isn't that simple? All the complexities and all of the gazillions of ideas and gadgets and strategies and technology and movements and trends and data and analytics and approaches and psychology, all the stuff in marketing. It's really just info in, info out. Bring information in, collect info from the market, and send info to the market. Isn't that, oh my God, I feel lighter already. Woo, that makes it easier. All right, am I sending info out? What am I sending out? Am I bringing info in? What am I bringing in? What do I need to know? And what do I need the market to know? And like, let's just keep it simple. So I don't struggle as much in these accountabilities because I love marketing, but I'm not the best market researcher. I'm not the analytical that'll sit and collect data and analyze data. I'm like, you know, but I love marketing. Love marketing. I don't struggle too much in the marketing area, but it's funny as soon as I mean that, what I mean though is a willingness to do it. Okay. Because a lot of times I come up with an idea, I do it, and then I talk to a real marketer and I go, well, why are you doing it that way? You need to do it this way. And have you thought of this? And no, you need to do that. And I'm like, oh God, there's a lot I don't know about marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 99 bottles of beer. Okay, so then info, right? Info out, and then we're done. So info in, info out, that has us covered in marketing. And then we go into the sales department, right? Because once you get a John Doe, we don't know them at all. Then we know them. We either have a name, phone number, email, right? Now that's a lead, right? And then if we communicate to that lead and they're still in the conversation with us, now they're a prospect.
Yeah.
And that's where sales comes in. It's not a 4-letter word, it's a 5-letter word. How do you convert prospects to clients? How do you convert prospects to customers? How do you get the retainer, get the contract signed? You need a different behavioral style to confront that opportunity and get somebody over the line to take the action of making a commitment to your products, your services, your what have you. Totally different than collecting market data or persuading and promoting with messages. Like, hey, guess what? Sales is a different behavioral style, a different set of skills, and there's only one accountability in the sales department. That's convert prospects to clients. That's it. Convert. Don't worry about anything else. Just convert. Right? Ethically, of course, convert in a way that fulfillment can deliver. Convert in a way that's consistent with the promises that were made to the marketplace. Convert in a way that's going, right? So you still have to integrate your accountability with the meeting of the other accountabilities in the department, especially this one. After they convert, then we go back into operations and we got into customer service, which is the R&R game. And we're not talking about rest and relaxation, although that's on my mind a lot because the holidays are upon us and people are starting to have one foot out the door, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes, sensing that very much.
Oh, it's so tough. I'm at my client's office right now. Shout out to Gupta, Evans, and Ayers, right? Who are always, always, always hospitable and letting me come in on the days that I work with them. I get to use the office here and do my stream. But today when I came in, there was some quality holiday treats on the counter. And I just took a look and said, that looks like quality, and did not partake and just came straight into the office to do the Zoom. I do have a coffee though.
Yep. Yeah.
And by the way, doesn't their mug look good on the live stream? Gupta, Evans, and Ayers, right?
Yeah, so that's not really well.
Yeah, don't get caught with your legal briefs down. Call my friends over here at Gupta, Evans, and Ayers. Okay, thank you, Sue. So R&R is repeat and refer, right? And then nowadays I'm listening to podcasts like review. Repeat, like they're adding these R's, like repeat, refer, like direct refer, but go online and do a review. Like you hear that a lot. We'll do a review, go into Google and do a podcast and all this stuff. So we can, R and R and R, and maybe there's 4 R's, maybe there's 5 R's, but at core, are your customers staying with you? Like Gupta, Evans, and Ayers has all the years?
Yeah.
Right? And are customers telling other people about you? Yeah, you got it. And then, of course, all business takes place somewhere. Everything about the business happens someplace, right? Even if it's in cyberspace, that's still a place. So who's managing the facilities, the where business takes place? Who's managing that? Again, lifestyle business. I love doing stuff from my clients' offices. I don't have to manage these facilities. It's neat, but like when you think about the laundry list of places that I've done business from, and I've done marketing on airplanes. I'm shooting flyby coaching videos on an airplane. I'm on an airplane and I'm doing marketing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. In the parking lot at Starbucks, or hotel conference rooms, or on the side of the freeway, just crazy. And then oh man, it's so funny to think about. Like, all right, you get to a spot and that energy, like, ooh, I need to get to a spot with good Wi-Fi. Okay, I got to a spot. And then the Wi-Fi cuts out. Like, oh no, you got to walk your computer to a better signal and all the stuff, right? So who's managing all of that? I love that you saw earlier this year, Sue, the University Club. You understand why I love the University Club? Because it's all handled.
Yes.
Right. I just show up. There's Wi-Fi. There's food. There's drink. There's conference rooms. There's touchdown rooms. There's banquet rooms. You know what I mean? There's organized events that happen all the time that I can easily just register for. Show up, networking on a platter, literally. Right. Plus all of the utility of the space. So you see some of the strategic choices I've made about facilities management and making sure that I don't have to be the technician that manages facilities. I don't want to sweep. I don't want to sterilize surfaces. I don't want to restock the coffee. I don't want to do any of that. Right. So I kind of invested in places where a lot of that's done for me. Right. So you got to be strategic about all of that. And speaking of strategic, we left operations last week and we got into the first of 4 accountabilities in finance. And so last week we wanted to be strategic about payable. It's not just pay the bills, but we were talking about reducing waste and increasing cash flow. That's it. Reduce waste. Is there wasteful spending anywhere? And how do I increase cash flow, which is not just revenue, the amount of money coming in, but the amount of money that you have on hand, right? Liquidity and flow is the flow in a way where once you pay your stuff, you still have enough money to make whatever decision you need to make in your business. You don't want cash flow to keep you from doing the things that you need to do in your business. But I've been there. There's moves I've wanted to make, investments I've wanted to make, things I've wanted to try. And it's like, ooh, the cash flow doesn't support it right now. So I've got to wait, etc. Right. So when you
hard, that patience can be hard in that. But the value of that is having some sort of simple record, whether it's just a spreadsheet to help you manage that.
Well, you've heard me joke before, like I say, oh yeah, now we're in the finance department, right? Like I don't like dealing. I mean, I've been pretty good. But my wife helps me. We're going to talk about this next week when we get into tip number 51. Is going to be compliance-based finances, which is all about just like the basics, the simple in, out, what is it? Tell the government and let them take their share. That's different from the strategy of finance. Like, what am I going to price this? What kind of a discount will I give? Do I pay myself a commission? Do we reimburse meals at sales meetings? Do we, what is my marketing budget? How much, on and on. That's different. So we'll get there. But before we do, we want to hit 50. There we are. We're here. 50 strategic AR, accounts receivable. So before we get into the word for word of it all, what else anything else to say about the summary, what we've covered, how I reviewed it, or anything from you, Sue?
No, I think you've covered it comprehensively, where we're up to and the conversations that we've had over the last few weeks.
Yeah, it feels like I've almost memorized the content in a weird way. I'm not even in the position to screen share. In weeks past, I would screen share and I would show the org chart. But maybe I can. View window. I don't know. Because it closed down. My computer had to restart and all these files had to close down. So let's see.
Okay.
There we go. At least I can get that one going. So I could. But yeah, last call. Not last call, but anything else before we get into the reading of the tip word for word?
No, nothing specific comes to mind.
Okay, I'm pulling it up, getting myself in a position to share. That's probably good enough. All right, that's good. All right, right. So I'm not even looking at it yet. Let me see. Share screen. Don't show those tips again. Window, get a clue in 52 for speakers. There's tip 48. So here's this org chart that we've been talking about. We've reviewed this pretty thoroughly every week. And so today we're right here in this tip right here. We're in the finance department. Last week we covered accounts payable, strategic accounts payable. And now we're going to talk here about strategic AR. And here's marketing, sales, operations. And of course, we're in finance now. So we've covered most of the beers on the wall. And we're moving. Yeah, but this is a big number, 50. All right, Sue, let's go ahead. Let's get into it.
Yeah, sure. So I open up with the comment that I'm grateful for my finance training in this one. And logically, if we are looking after AP or accounts payable, the flip side is going to be that we need to look after AR, accounts receivable. So am I right, Jeff?
You are so right, Sue. The 10th accountability on Org Chart 101 is accounts receivable. And tip number 50 is to be strategic about it if you can. Larger companies mature to create positions like AP/AR clerk. Yeah, one person who handles both accountabilities of paying bills and collecting revenue. And that's all they do. Ready? Because here we go again. Sue, are you getting ready to laugh? Here we go again. We've done this before for the last couple of weeks. If I asked you if you're an accounts receivable clerk, you'd say no.
No.
If I was really being a smart ass, I might ask, oh, do you do accounts payable too? And then I would duck. No, I get it. You're a speaker, damn it. Wink, smirk, duck again. I get it. But if I asked who collects cashes and deposits the checks made out to your speaking business, or do they just make it out to you personally? Who collects credit card information and processes electronic payments? What merchant accounts you use in your speaking business, typo there, and who sets up and monitors those to make sure they are functional? What happens in your speaking business when a client is late in paying or has a declined card error? If you're Stripe, Venmo, PayPal, or Square for your speaking business, right? Who is the technician that creates products, invoices, and or payment links for them inside the software? Who shops for the lowest processing fees among payment processing vendors? Who works with marketing on technical integrations of payment systems with marketing systems, websites, or funnels? Who runs cash flow reports so decision makers in other departments of your business know what they are working with and if how to improve spending or expense requests? If you said, I do, me too. Okay. I'll admit that my wife helps me sometimes. Again, better yet, if you have a personal or executive assistant who does it for you. Maybe better yet, if your spouse runs your bank account, books, bills, etc. I don't know. What I do know is that I've never taken a class or had any formal training in accounts receivable. I've never held any job or contract whose duties were collections in any form. Yet I've always done, still do nearly 100% 100% of this job in my practice. I am betting burritos that most speakers and coaches are in the same or similar boat. Maybe once I grow large enough to justify the expense of hiring somebody else to do this, I might be tempted to call my speaking practice a speaking business. Once I have written policies and procedures, checks and balances, safeguards and standards, strategies, tactics, resources, systems to maximize the cash flow and minimize expenses associated with collecting revenue, I might be tempted to call it a business. And cue the music. 3 more accountabilities on the chart, 3 more accountabilities. I don't describe my own business as a business. I call it a practice, partly because I still do 100% of my own AR. And if my work in this accountability was being graded like a test, even though I'm quite sure I'm earning a B or better compared to other coaches or speakers, right? In parentheses, I'm more certainly earning a C or worse compared to most other businesses. When it comes to this accountability, the closest I will get to calling what I have a business is when I use the words expensive before business, because collecting revenue costs money, either in billable hours not available for speaking when we are doing this work, or in processing fees from vendors, etc. This is a Kluby snack, right? It is expensive to collect money from people. And to the music, you nail one down and you pass it around. Yeah. So if you are still not yet convinced from this tip that conducting and managing the collections of revenue is both expensive in fees, time-consuming, and billable hours lost to it, and challenging because it requires strategy to maximize cash flow, well, the next 2 tips reveal several more reasons why speakers struggle to build what I would personally feel comfortable calling a speaking business. Here we go, Sue. I got to take a deep breath for this. 10 down. 10 down.
Amazing.
Is it worth it? Does it run? What does it sell? What must we know about the marketplace? What does and how does the marketplace know about us? How do we convert prospects to clients? How and how well do we get repeat and referral clients? Where does all this take place? And what do you, your prospects, your clients experience when doing business there? How are we increasing liquidity and reducing waste when we pay for the things we need? Has everyone paid us what they owe us in ways that maximize cash flow while reducing the labor hours required to get paid? And resume the music. 2 more accountabilities on the chart. 2 more accountabilities. All right. And there you have it. There you have it. So let's talk about that. That's a fun one to read, right?
It is. It is. And it's a really good reminder of, I think, how much difference you can make to your business from that cash flow perspective by stepping back, taking the time to think about what that means for your business. And we might talk more about it in the next couple of weeks from a strategic perspective, but by reflecting on what allocation of time do I give to these functions can make a massive difference to the cash flow of your business. And
to put it lightly,
yeah. And looking at, I think it's a great reminder of I like the bit that you picked out as a Kluby snack. It's expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive to collect money.
And I think it's getting more expensive, to be honest, as banks put their fees up, and they're always looking for different ways of collecting revenue, but we're the ones that are paying for it. There's a whole lot to talk about there. I want to introduce, it's psychologically expensive. Like psychic RAM. Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm supposed to be the consultant. I'm supposed to be the coach. I'm supposed to be the speaker. And now I have to take that hat off and say, hello, do you have the money? Hello, where's the money? Hey, we talked about this thing. You want me to get started, and you have all these expectations, but I don't have a signed contract and I don't have a retainer. So how do you expect me to get started? Now, do you know what I mean? And now it dilutes, the pure, I don't even know, quality or the nature of the assignment. You follow? I do often wish I would just, send the thing down and look, hey, it's your job, get the money. You collect the money.
Yeah.
right? But it's there's a client of mine. I want to say he stopped working with me. I want to say he paused working with me 14 months ago.
Okay.
14 months ago with a $5,000 balance that he owed. I think it was $5,000 that he owed me at that time.
Right.
And it's like, now what do you do? It's like, you don't want to give up on the person, right? Because we're coaches, right?
Yeah.
You follow? So you got to believe. And it's like, oh, wait a second. What kind of coach am I if I'm not coaching him into the revenue that he needs to pay me, And so now the actual sessions are diluted with this balance that's accumulating, right?
Yeah.
And then it's not just for me, but for him. And now he doesn't feel like he wants to show up to the sessions because he doesn't want to take advantage of my generosity. It's like, he's like, how about I pause? And then, okay, so he made a payment and he got it down to like 3,000. But I just got a payment from him the other day, $250, just start to chip away. It's nice. He did something, and I loved him up. Like, hey, I love it. I saw something come in. Thank you so much. He's like, I'm doing the best I can. I'm like, I'm not interested in the best you can. I'm just interested in knowing there's something happening. And, so all the same, but it's like, that's psychological weight.
Yes.
You follow and then you got to check in. It's like, hey, if I don't send him text messages, what if he forgets? Am I going to write this off and just say, oh, or do I have to stay on top of it? And then now, you know what I mean? So I don't want it on my mind. Right. So the psychological expense, let alone, I'm financing the services that I'm providing for him if he's not, anyway. So you can talk about the fees and the banks and, merchant accounts and, 3% or 2.9% or all of that. But I'm talking about just, communication and posturing and like, remember back to you're not an accounts receivable clerk?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm. Oh no! I know. You're a speaker. I got it. You're a speaker and a coach. I know you don't do accounts, but so that's what I'm getting at is the identity, the cost from our identity and our bandwidth and our decision making on time management and the care and communication that we have to have. It's not fun to remind somebody that they're delinquent on an account.
No, not at all.
Right? It's not fun to say things like to protect yourself, like, hey, I'm ready to get started. All I need is the signed contract and the deposit. That's a little more fun than the previous thing I mentioned, right?
Yeah.
But and so I feel fortunate that there was a while. I remember a couple of years ago. It's like, I think in my entire time doing business, I think 15 years of business, I think maybe I was owed less than $3,000. Which is interesting. It's probably closer to 10,000 now that I'm owed, or people not figuring their stuff out. But in the grand scheme of things, it's still pretty good, right? Yeah. But it's still expensive, right? And those are still open loops, right? There's still a receivable there, and now what do I do about that? And when I'm trying to focus on growth, right? I got to look forward, not behind. And so that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about like not just the fees, which are obvious and escalating. But I'm talking about the psychological expense of collecting money.
And I like that too, in the sense of from a business perspective, as a solopreneur, it's worth considering where are my natural fortes? Like, am I better at sales? Am I better at marketing? And strategically then look at what opportunities do I have to outsource the areas that I am the least effective at, so that you're reducing that load of
One of the greatest investments I ever made in my business, it's peripherally related. It's not finance, right? But I guess it's customer service or operations to some degree. But getting a scheduling link. I adopted scheduling software in 2013. I remember it was, schedule once. And I've had the same link ever since, meetme.so/get-a-clue. I should have become an affiliate because I saw so many people adopt it after I did. There's market leaders that took over like Calendly, and Calendly became a big one, right? But when people anyway, my point is like, it's similar, right? The reason I say this is because now here's my scheduling link. And all of a sudden there's an aggregate of accumulated time that I would spend just scheduling appointments, right? Because you send an email. Oh, here are 3 days and times that can work for me. You send those. And then by the time the person gets back to you, 1 or 2 or all 3 of them are no longer available.
Yes.
You follow. Then the person gets back to you and they say, "Oh, that won't work now. Sorry, go back." Or then somebody comes like, "Hang on," like, and then you call. It's ridiculous to think about how many. The clock's ticking, right? When you're doing all of that stuff. So what I'm using that as the example of the scheduling got so automated. I love it. People just book themselves onto my calendar. There it is. I know what I'm doing, right? And then I do my power hour and I make adjustments once a week and I look at things. But same thing. How can we do that in accounts receivable? So the basics, 10% off for paying in full up front, right? Like I got a nice retainer for 2025. And they wanted to negotiate it down to the lowest possible rate, and it ended up being a strong 5-figure retainer, right? But I said, hey, if you commit to this, the more you commit to, right, pay in full up front. And I actually offered pay in full up front as part of getting it down, and they still didn't pay in full up front. They still wanted to do a deposit and go on a plan. It's like, well, hang on, we agreed to this, and now when it's time to collect the money, now you want to change it, but we agreed to this, and so now. Yeah, I don't want to be the person who says, well, wire the money, do whatever you need to do. Switch. I just want to focus on the work I'm doing, not those logistics. Right. Yeah. So it went from a pay in full up front to now billing a smaller amount every month for 12 months. It's like, well, wait a second. And that's the part of collecting to making sure they pay me at all.
Yes.
You follow? But what we originally agreed to was a big amount up front in order to reduce the rate. But then they've got risk on their side. Like, hey, they don't want to give me that much money if they haven't seen any deliverables yet, So it now becomes shared. But from the receivables perspective, right? It costs time. It took time. Several phone calls, several emails, going into my thing, setting up the payment link, creating different options within that payment link, setting it out to that. All of that takes time and psychological energy. I can come up with more examples, but what do you got, Sue?
Yeah. I think it's good to talk about it, and these are areas that it's easy to forget about and not give any focus to. But from a business perspective, there's opportunity there to have a better cash flow, to free up. Think about how, what's a simple process that you might be able to put in place that is going to get you a better longer term outcome in freeing up that headspace for doing what you really want to do. What are you here for? Speaking, coaching? What is it?
It's just one of the reasons why subscription revenue is so popular, right? First of all, you want constant recurring, but once somebody subscribes, that's just one moment, right? You don't have to keep on. Hey, it's the first of the month. Can I run your card again? I hated those conversations. I didn't want to have to, because that's the other thing too. It's like, oh, well, and I learned my lesson to sell coaching differently than I used to when I started. I'd say, all right, we'll do a session a week, for whatever it is per month, whatever it was back in the day, $500 a month for an hour a week, right? But then they get sick, right? So they do 2 sessions, miss the 3rd session. So now in April, they've done 3 sessions. But May 1st is rolling around and you want to build the next 500. And you go to run the card and it doesn't go through. And they're like, oh, well, you're like, well, hey, first of all, your card didn't go through. I hate those conversations. Do you have a different card or what's going on? And now that's nobody wants to be involved in those conversations. But then secondly, when they say, well, we have only done 3 sessions. We haven't done the 4th session yet. And wait. Now I'm going back to the enrollment conversation that I thought I already had.
Yes. Yeah.
Makes sense. I didn't enroll you to renegotiate terms. I enrolled you so that we can get that past us and focus on the coaching or the speaking or the engagement or the what have you, right? I did a speaking gig earlier this year, and I had to follow up. I had to ask twice for the, I got a deposit, you follow, and then the balance was due after the speech was over, right? And so I had
Yeah.
They knew the balance was due. I knew the balance was
Yeah.
due, but I had to then call them and say, "Hey, following up, let me know if there's any good feedback, and it would be great if we can, close out the contract." And I had to send 2 follow-up emails. I would prefer not
Gosh.
to send any,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this is the reality, right? And it's like we've all sat in the audience and seen the speaker on stage and said, "I'm better than that dude. I could run circles around her. I could at least do as good as she's doing. I could do at least as good as she's doing." What we don't see is all the stuff I'm trying to share in these
Yeah.
tips.
Oh,
Right?
and that is
Yeah.
so true. So true. Yeah. Yeah.
What
It's all
up?
the
Yeah.
stuff that got them there.
Yeah. Well, and all the stuff they have to do as soon as they get off stage.
Yeah.
You know, get into comfortable shoes, makeup remover, the whole bit, right? I guess we're here now. Yeah. Oh gosh, look at some of these old Kluby snacks. Yeah, I guess we're in last call, Sue.
Yeah.
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 Hey,
Yeah.
jokes, riddles, haikus, limericks. You have anything special up your sleeve? You were so cute earlier in the year. You'd come up with a couple of neat things.
Yeah, I haven't got anything new this week. It's I had a very busy week. Very fun week, but very busy week. So
I saw there was a birthday celebration for your mom and dad, right? Or your mom and
my
dad, or
mum.
both? Your
My
mom?
mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So yeah, I was looking. So that was last night. We had dinner for her birthday, 85.
ain't
And
no jive. She's 85.
85, and she looks amazing. She's, yeah. And I'm like, I'm so proud of all that she's done to get to where she is today. And yeah, really good mindset, really good attitude to life, and fun to celebrate with her.
Does she
Yeah,
know how to get? Does she know how to get online and join a live stream for Q&A?
she probably could.
Well, because here's the link. Where is she? No, all right. What else do we have for last call? I'm not going to take the time. I took so much time last week promoting Kluby Snacks with Abigail. I'm not going to do the same thing this week, although I might next week.
Next
I
week.
might next
Yeah.
week. I might.
Yeah.
I might.
Yeah.
I might. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm just holding the space. Last call. Comments, questions,
Yeah.
jokes, riddles.
No, nothing really earth-shattering to add. I just think it's valuable to go through these steps and take a moment to go, this is important. Have a look, take the time to review it. So
Yeah. Look at your contract. What contract do you use when you're getting a speaking gig? What are the payment terms that are in the contract? How much help are you giving yourself?
well, yes. Yeah, because the work you do at that point makes it easier when you get to this point that we're talking about today.
Absolutely. Well, look, Sue, you and I might hang out this weekend and check out some streaming options. There's always stuff that we're kicking around, but for today's purposes, when we're talking about the strategic accounts receivable, the second accountability in the finance department among the 12 in section 5 of our book, Practice Building. Anything else for today?
No, nothing else for me.
All right.
Thank you. Always good to be here.
Yeah. It's. I'm telling you, it is just a little bit. It's like I know it's time to go. I know we don't really have anything else to do, but every time I hit the end stream button now, it's one more bottle of beer off the wall. You know what I mean? We're getting cool. We got 2 more streams left, Sue, and we will have done it a full year. But congratulations, high five on number 50. It's always a treat to be with you on a weekly basis. Let's stay in the studio after we end the stream, as we discussed. And thanks everyone out there for chiming in. Let us know if we can help you with anything that you're trying to achieve through speaking or in your career as a speaker. All right. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. Bye.